Hey everybody, it's Divine Readings with a Gypsy, and today I am going to say what is Vedic Astrology 101. I had nobody here very excited about Vedic Astrology and wanted to know what really Vedic Astrology was. And it really stems from India. It's a Indian astrology. And we here, as our guest today, is Lord Shiva. And I picked him up at a thrift store. I forgot which thrift store, a little while back now, and he was like $5 or something like that. But yeah, Lord Shiva has been around, hanging around while I'm studying astrology. My husband doesn't like Shiva so much. He's actually a pretty powerful presence. I don't know why, but he is supposedly a Trinity god, and one of three. Brahma's being another one, and I forgot the third one. I forgot who the third Trinity is, but it's Shiva, Brahma, and someone else. I forgot that. Oh, someone else, though. Excuse me, I'm also filming in the morning where I'm drinking coffee yet again. So, yeah. So, Vedic astrology and what makes it different from tropical astrology. Here I have the sun and the earth. Now, I should have just kept the cap off of my dry erase marker. When in Vedic astrology, we look at the position of the stars and what the stars are in the sky. And the earth actually changes during its rotational period. And so the earth actually, it does go around the sun, but it actually changes. And the stars around the earth actually change every now and then. And it's actually going backwards. And so the astrological system is actually going backwards. So for an example, if I was born, my birthday is April 20th in 1991, just to give you an age, but it's a good example. I am an Aries, whereas the tropical astrology would almost consider me on the cusp of Taurus. And so you would have to go, for me, I had to go to an astrologer to figure out if I'm really a Taurus or really an Aries. And I figured out I was really an Aries, and a hardcore Aries too, which is kind of funny, but so the Vedic astrology does the stars and sky, or I should have made my star more like this. Stars and sky and relevance to the earth. Whereas the tropical astrology, we have the equinoxes. And what does it mean to have an equinox? It's when the earth quite literally goes up and down on its axis. That's an equinox, and we have two equinoxes. We have the spring equinox and the fall equinox, if you're not really savvy on your science or you're Wiccan. And so, an equinox is when the earth is quite literally up and down 2 times in the year to change its direction for the new season. And it changes axes. And so you would be leaning a little bit to the right or you're a little bit to the left, depending on which equinox you are and how you're facing to the sun. A little bit of science 101 for you. But what is so important about the equinoxes, you're going to ask me, what does this have to do with Vedic astrology? Well, it has to do with everything with astrology, because the tropical astrology believes that is done by the equinoxes. The tropical astrology follows the equinoxes of the Earth's on its axis. So it's either you follow the theory that we are with the Earth and harmonious with the Earth on its axis, or you believe more in the stars in the sky and how it impacts on us. And so that's, in the nutshell, the difference between Vedic astrology and tropical astrology. Are we following the fixed rotation on the axis, or are we wanting to be influenced by the stars onto the Earth? There you go. That's the difference. And that's kind of why I wanted my dry erase board, because I feel like this is a good way to get people to understand what is the differences and what is really the difference between Vedic astrology and tropical astrology in a nutshell. And let me get rid of my eraser. I'm going to keep this dry erase board through the course when I'm doing my Tarot and Astrology 101, but I kind of wanted to answer nobody here's question, why would somebody want to learn Vedic system? And honestly, the Vedic system is really a great system, and I got a few book recommendations for you too. But since you know what you know now, the difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology, if you don't jive with Vedic astrology and all of its crazy meanings, like dasha is like the planetary influences, like which dasha are you in, and the Vimshatari dasha system is basically saying that, I'm using my book as a reference sometimes, it's a form of Jyotish to understand how the birth chart unfolds and promise and potential during a person's life. The most widely used method is the Vimshadari Dasha system, also known as the Udu Dasha. And I'm getting all this information from the Art and Science of Vedic Astrology Foundational Course by Richard Fisher and Ryan Kurzak, and he actually has a YouTube channel, and I'll try to link it down below. And what is it all saying is that that's just the very most common dasha system, or the planetary influential system in Vedic astrology. There's many schools within the school in Vedic astrology too. There's people who are studying the planetary aspects. There's people studying the nakshatras, which is like the zodiac sign in Indian astrology. There's people who are studying the, what other good major classes that people have studied in Vedic astrology? The yogas and how the yogas affect you, and there's even people doing predictive Vedic astrology that to plan out their day. But I think there's a lot of Western astrologers that do that too, that they plan their day around astrology. Yes, there are people out there that do that, and that there's systems within the system and people who have their own niche. And it's alright to have your own niche. You're not going to know it all, and you're going to be more interested in one way than another way, which is really cool. And that's one thing I like about astrology in general. You're not going to always be, I heard it this way, it's like a brain surgeon and a heart surgeon. You're both doing surgery, but what kind of surgery are you doing? And that's what I like about astrology. It's all right, and there's no wrong way. Whether it be in the Vedic system, or the Western system, or even different schools in the Vedic system, or the Western system, or combining the two together. But I would recommend to anybody who wants to look up Ryan Kurzak's YouTube channel to buy a book like this for $14.95. I know that sounds crazy, but there's a reason behind that, because he's going to throw these big words out there that you're not going to understand without some sort of glossary. And this book has a lot of good glossary to it, and he could follow along with his YouTube stuff. Actually, I believe his YouTube channel, and when he was teaching Vedic astrology on his YouTube channel, and if you want to go check it out, is kind of based on, you already have this book. You have to have the book along with the YouTube channel, and you'll get the most out of it. And he encourages note-taking and studying, and the good 9 yards. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing all that fun stuff. I like studying, and I'm always a studious person. And feeling like I have purpose to study always makes me happy. I like it when I feel accomplishing something, but I love the process of getting there more than the accomplishment. And that's how I am with my tarot cards. I like this study of the tarot, but I don't necessarily study it to accomplish. That's not where my drive is. I love the study more than feeling like I've done it. And if you're one of those personality types, then astrology is definitely for you. And another book I would totally recommend, if you're really into the Western astrology, is this book. If you really want to get started in Western astrology or any kind of astrology, I would highly recommend get this book and the Art and Science of Vedic Astrology book, Volume 1 or 2, by Richard Fisher and Ryan Kursak, book of Vedic, together, because this does definitely have a lot of good juice in it. It has sextiles, it has Chiron, it has charts, it has Stallone's, and it has Meryl Streep's astrology charts in there, and it tells you what's the significance of all these different charts and what does it mean, and it really is a good book for beginners before you get into the astrology theory books, astrological theory books, because those are fun too when you really get into the specific parts of astrology. Is the theory books. We learned the basics so we could get to the theory books and read these big, lengthy books, theses books by other astrologers and doctors in astrology. And so that's the goal, and that's the dream, and I think this book helps you get there, because you at least have an understanding what the names are and the terminologies are, and that's the same thing with the Vedic Astrology book here too, is that it at least gets you a good start in knowing all these different systems and planetary systems. And now in my tarot course, my tarot and astrology course, I'm going to try to keep it as neutral between the two systems as I can, because there's so many ways of looking at the tarot, like there's so many ways of looking at astrology. So that's my recommendation, and I'm hoping that my little doodles and stuff kind of summarizes what's the really big difference between Vedic astrology and Western astrology, and I hope that my book references will help you too. And if you have any questions, as always, link it down below, and I'll do more videos, hopefully, in the future as I'm learning and getting to know these things. And you all have a good day.